All right, cool.
Welcome back to the Street Shaman Podcast. I am your host, Shamanic Poe, aka Poe and the Rockstar. And today I'm here with my homie and traveling nomad, Ocean Imago. What's good, girl? How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, better than I thought I would be because of life circumstances, so I can't complain. And we're having some chill time together right now, and I think that's pretty awesome, so no complaints.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. So you told me before we booked this podcast that you're planning to head back to Oregon. Is that where you're from? And if that's where you're from, how the fuck did you get to West Virginia?
Oh man, well, I'm actually was born and raised in Colorado, so I was born in Westminster, Colorado, and then I lived maybe in Westminster till I was like maybe 4, 25, and then the rest of the time until I was like 18, I lived in the Tri-Town area in Colorado, so Firestone, Frederick, and Tacoma. It's like the Tri-Town area off I-25. I left there. I've been around a lot, so that I'll just like keep it short. But yeah, I'm originally from Colorado, and um, over the years I've ended up in Oregon. I've ended up a lot of places, but yeah. How did I end up in hillbilly cornbread, West Virginia, on the other side of the U.S.? Like, um, well, I'm not too sure what happened really, but I was, being, well, I was being stalked by numerous people. Like, maybe it
Mm.
was like similar to, kind of like Neighborhood Watch, like Citizens on Patrol and stuff, but like, I don't know why they would be all these random people that I didn't know were following me, but there was like really bad, just really bad. And then one night I was like patrolling the streets, like freaking out, and then the paranoia makes it worse. But I was like trying to figure out like, are these people actually following me, or am I just crazy? Because there's a lot of like homelessness and drug addiction going on in Eugene for sure. A lot of tent cities and just crazy behavior. So um, yeah, I was just being followed by a lot of people, and like there was somebody outside of my window one night, like a couple nights a week. It just started escalating. Like somebody, it sounded like somebody was like clapping outside my window and like just like flashing a light, like a flashlight in my like house and stuff, and it just kept escalating. And then one night, two men approached me, like big guys with baseball bats, and they tried to assault me and everything. And like I got away. I don't it just all happened so fast too. It was like right in front of my parents' house, and my dad walks out like freaking, Homer Simpson, like, "What's going on, Tim?" I'm like freaking out, like dirty and bloody, and I'm like, those guys." And from what I picked up, I guess like they were a part of a motorcycle gang potentially. Like I have no like. I'm still trying to figure out what the hell was going on with that whole situation. So I pretty much just like fled to West Virginia so that I wouldn't like get who knows what would have happened to me if I stayed. So I was just too terrified. My sister's been in the National Guard for the last few years, so she's been stationed out here in West Virginia. So she gave me a place to kind of like escape and keep myself safe, pretty much. So
Okay, so it's your sister that lives in West Virginia that made you move out that way?
yeah,
Yeah. Okay,
but I
so
wouldn't have been here if like I never thought I would ever be in West Virginia. Like, not in I never even thought about this state before, really. Except like maybe
right.
in like school when I was little, looking at the map, it looks like a turkey or whatever, but they think it looks like a middle finger. I don't know, but yeah, it definitely was just like a safety issue. And I'm like going back to Oregon next Tuesday, and like I'm not very excited about that either, though, because it's just the anarchy going on there. It's kind of exciting because like yeah, anarchy, like let's topple this shit, but it's not really a fun experience to be surrounded by people, not being able to like feel safe in your own community really just sucks. And plus, yeah, just a lot of stuff has really been going on. So there's a lot of pain there that we're gonna have to deal with, that I'm gonna deal with and stuff too. So yeah,
Right.
yeah. It might get a little
Right.
heavy in here, guys. I apologize, but
No, it's
life is.
fine. It's fine.
I think life has been really crazy for everybody though. So
Yeah, it's been crazy. It's been a crazy ride for all of us. All the shit that we dealing with, all the fake news, all the people talking, trying to spin narratives. It's just been a lot recently. So how do you feel about the metaverse? Do you know about the metaverse? Is that
Um,
some place you want to visit?
not really. I mean, in a way, we're kind of like a part of it, and kind of like because we're still very physical, and like most of our like it's not all of our life, but for some people, like this is their life. Like, I was off Facebook for a long time. Like, I take frequent breaks off the internet, but the longest was like 4 or 5 years. I like got off Facebook, Instagram. This Instagram that I have now is kind of just new. It's been only like a year old, maybe. But I was off for like 4 years, and people be like, "How are you? How do you do that? You can't. How do you even do that?" So like, I don't know. I already want to figure out the dream realm, and that's already kind of like its own kind of separate universe, metaverse kind of thing
Right,
in of itself, right? And then now we're gonna like divert, like make further like divergence of the whole thing, and just trap ourselves further into like this like box, like metaphorical box, like arbitrary, like because we're kind of boxing ourselves in, like the architecture. Somebody was talking to me
mm,
about like architecture and how like we're like boxed in, and there's no like can't really harness free energy or anything with the current like
right,
infrastructure.
right,
We're opening our minds up to all this information, but then we're closing ourselves in on ourselves at the same time. It's so weird.
right,
But like
right,
the metaverse, I don't know, like I have a hard time processing some information depending on how it's represented, right? So then like now I got to represent data and then interpret that into information, like, and then what if you can't sign out, or like what if you like how is that going to be? Plus that whole like creepy Mark Zuckerberg thing that like when they changed the name of Facebook or whatever, and just it's like
right,
the
right,
Oculus headsets. Like people are gonna be trapped inside with these things on their like Oculus, and then like watching porn or something on an Oculus when they can go have the real thing. Like the real thing isn't good enough anymore, but then we're gonna substitute it for something. So
right, right.
it's weird.
Yeah,
It's weird.
I feel the same way. I feel the same way. I feel like a lot of it is a trap. It's another distraction. We've gotten plenty of distractions. Now this is just a new form of distraction. It's just up and up. It's upping the ante. It's making sure that people are completely engulfed in a different world so that way they don't think about the normal world. And I think that a lot of it is just to help the powers that be control shit better. That's it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Because I mean, they're confining us. Like we take up a certain amount of space, right? They're limiting our travel, and they're limiting our ability to like think freely and critically, and to even have an open mind, because like all the censorship, you can't say this or that, or like it's just all this like, language is really just arbitrary at the end of the day too, because I mean the most realist things you can feel before you have to say anything about them. But
Mhm.
I don't know,
Right,
and like yeah.
right. So how you feel about the whole censorship thing? Because we know that like half the shit, or if not the bulk of the shit that they want to censor, and they're coming down with fucking Thor's hammer to slam down on us. Most of those things are truths that people are speaking, but they don't want out to the public. Like
Right.
we even have like the side effects to the vaccines, right? They were trying to push it back so that we don't know about it till 75 years from now.
Right.
I don't know
Yeah.
about you, but in 75 years, I will no longer be here.
Right. Especially if the thing has something in it that like ruins your immune system. Like that's probably what they're
Right,
assuming. I mean, everybody that took the jibby jab will be gone before that 75 years is up to really live to tell about it. So that's
right,
that's that's fishy. Like the whole thing has always been fishy. Like I mean,
right,
especially like I've been through like really messy situations with like people, like toxic people, and like or like the narky spectrum or whatever. Like dealing with those kind of people, it's easy for like if you've overcome those things and you don't like fall into those cycles repeatedly. But like it's Stockholm syndrome, like you can just easily
right,
see that. Like other people can't see it. It's like you're being coerced. Like you still have a choice. Like no, I'm either I do this or I don't do this. But like now they're lifting them, you know. So like you could have waited it out, and like, oh, you maybe wouldn't didn't have your job or whatever. Or you could always get another job. Like
Yeah.
no place, no job or anything is like worth like me being discontented with my life and myself, and you know, like
Right. Or hurting yourself
to
or
alter
injuring
my
yourself.
day. Yeah, like to all like yeah, that's wild. And then like to forbid like people from even like asking, like you can't even ask because like underneath the question is an assumption that you know you're questioning the narrative. How dare you
Right.
question the narrative? You know,
Right.
and
Right.
that's why I wear masks. So they're muzzles. I always tell people that like, oh yeah, you gotta put your mask on because you have to, you know, muzzle yourself.
Right.
And
No,
it is like a
absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. Like one of the things that I've learned from hanging out in small groups that were like mini cults and shit, the person that was the center of the group was always trying to swindle an idea and a narrative that you could not contest. If you contested the narrative, that person will hit up Billy, Joe, and fucking Susie and make sure that they all are against you and be like, hey, this person over here is saying some shit and blah, 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 just to
mm-hmm.
make sure that you look like the wrong one or you look evil.
Or yeah,
So
yeah,
that way
you're the
everybody, right. And that is, it's exactly the same shit. It's the same shit, same cult like behavior of you believe this narrative. If you don't believe this narrative, then we come down on you. We try to put you in your place. If we can't put you in your place, then we're going to fucking eliminate you from the group. And it's basically what they're doing now with all this censorship shit, with all this
yeah,
mandates and everything else.
and the name calling, like you know, with the ABC people, and like I don't know, isn't that why we have names? Like when I meet somebody, like yeah, maybe I could assume they're just have to find out their name because that's what like what do you want to be called? Like why do I have to find out all this other you know go through this all this other extra stuff? And that also just makes the interaction with that person really just dishonest and disingenuous, you know. So it's
Hmm.
not really like coming from an authentic like place, and that's not
Right,
really like you know you've been in those. Everybody's probably been in those dynamics. Like there's just not the vibe. They just have the vibe check. Like
right. Absolutely, absolutely. So, what do you feel about the Great Reset? Do you know about
um
that? Do you think that
yeah,
it's good for us or what?
I don't think like I mean you could definitely put on your rosy colored glasses and tailor it to some kind of like utopia illusion or whatever because a lot of people are doing that. Um, but they're also probably doing that out of like just instinct and like how our brain works to protect us from this crazy ass stuff because you probably should be like digging holes and hiding from these people like but I
Hmm.
don't think they have like good intentions for really anyone. I mean, wouldn't their systems be like you know bountiful for everyone instead of like
Right,
draining everyone and like you know
right.
and they wouldn't
Yeah,
be so
my
incompetent. Why is everybody so incompetent? Like it's like the higher up you go the more incompetent everybody is, and it's just kind of like and these are the people that say and but they don't make any sense. They don't relate to us. They don't like he's like Carl Schwab or whatever, like Q-tip guy. I don't know the
yeah, no,
Schwab.
I
Schwab's
don't
entirely.
think I don't think that. Hold on, we're fucking up here. The sound sounds crazy. You have a phone call or something? It's on vibrate.
Did it start vibrating?
Yeah, I think so. It was vibrating in my ear hole. All right, so what I don't think that they're incompetent as much as they think that they're slick. These are people that think that they're slick and they think they could play dumb to win over people and then later be like, "Oh, I don't know. I didn't know at all."
Damn it, I can't hear you. Hold on one second. Let me figure this
Mm,
out.
that's not good.
There we go. There we go.
There you go.
I do not like cell phones either. There we go. I had to
Okay,
like
so
get these Bluetooths out and then my apologies.
right. No, you're fine. What I'm thinking is that they're not incompetent, that they think that they're smarter than what they are. They think that they're getting away with shit by lying. And I mean, for a lot of people, they are. For a lot of people, they fucking are. Like, there's so many people that are so convinced about what's going on and how and whatever the narrative they're saying, however it goes, they're like 100% down on it. And that's fucked up, you know? Like, we should, like, I would hope that people have better critical thinking skills, but then I know how people are. People are checked out. They're focused
Right.
on money. They're focused on trying to be more successful than the next person. Their whole fucking life is just envious of somebody else of what they're fucking doing because they're not doing nothing. So it is tough to really relay proper messaging to the people that need it, to the people that we would love to have on our side with some more understanding of what's going on. So we just end up like, if we're
Right.
talking to them or try to talk to them, it's like talking to a fucking brick wall. It's like, it's not getting through. It's not going to happen. You might as well just give up now.
Yeah, and then you're just putting yourself through all this stress trying to
Yep.
convey something, you know, it's like
Yep.
it's not really worth it, especially like with like shadow projection and all that stuff. Like you're just kind of feeding into it. Like projection's a tool that's spiked at both ends, you know, everybody gets affected by it. And
Right.
it's just, what's the point of that? Either we're gonna like, you know, assimilate and get along and work together for the same like common goal like these people can and have. Like I think they think they're smarter than everybody because I mean look at like throughout history these certain like elite groups or whatever have gotten away with so much crap. Like half of our history is probably all, you know, baloney. Like that kind of trips people up, you know? And then just to
Right.
be like grow up, like a lot of people are also growing up in like all this freedom and, you know, free information at your disposal. Like people are like obtaining this crazy information that's like totally shifting and cracking their heads open and like making a new paradigm that they can't even keep up with because it's just like I've literally
Right.
seen people glitching out. Like people are like literally glitching, you know, when you tell them
Yeah.
something, they're just like, and it's crazy. And then especially like people that I loved and respected, like who were super like well-rounded, reasonable, like rational, total
Not
180.
good. Right.
And it's like
Right.
overnight.
Absolutely. Um, how do you feel about the feminist movement? Do you think what they're doing is good, or do you think what they're doing is bad? I would love to hear it from you, Ocean.
Oh man. Well, I mean, I don't know. I don't like the label thing. I've never really liked the label thing. Like I'm just Sam and I have these weird quirks and things about me that you people may or may not like, right? And like I don't know, I've worked in predominantly like male fields. I used to be a wildland firefighter and like do stonemasonry and these things like that. And there is like obviously like a stark difference to how men are treated versus women in those environments. But I mean, it's kind of understandable and just I don't know. There's a lot of nuance in relationships and like business interactions and like dealing with coworkers and just like drama also because like people are kind of, you know, they don't think critically. They just kind of absorb like, you know, pop culture and stuff and like, you know, want to gossip or, you know, obtain some kind of something from somebody because people aren't loved for who they are. They're loved for their utility.
Right.
And that kind of
Right.
sucks too because I'm not a freaking, you know, household appliance for you just come by and use and like, you know, toast your panini or something like, and then never see me again because I'm kind of tired of that kind of stuff too. Especially with this shit going on, like everybody's worried about Ukraine or like feminism. Oh, we're with her even though it might be a him. But you don't like your neighbor or you're not going to be there for your kids or you're not going to like form a group of like-minded individuals and kind of combat this like coming treachery that might befall us because who knows what this is going to be like. Because honestly, it
Right.
doesn't look good.
Right. Right.
Like people are
Yeah.
slowly starting to snap. You
I
know?
think, yeah, because a lot of people just live in fear and anxiety and depression, and a lot of them don't even fucking know that they're depressed or anxious or whatever. Like they're anxious, so they yell. They're anxious, so they start talking shit. Like
Right.
anxiety doesn't always come in the form of like, oh shit, I'm scared, I'm not gonna. Sometimes it's just like, what the
Right.
fuck are
Yeah.
you doing? Ah, like it's just all this extra shit where
Right.
it's
Yeah.
like, dude, relax, relax, take it easy. But
Yeah.
it's hard to
Exactly.
tell somebody take it easy when that's their fucking pattern of thinking for so long. You know what I mean? So you mentioned the
Exactly. It's hard for some
Ukraine.
people.
Go ahead, go ahead.
I forgot what
You
I was gonna say. It's all
no
good.
no
It's all good.
worries. You mentioned the Ukraine and Russia war and shit. How do you feel about what's going on over there, and what's the message that you received about what's going on over there? What's the news that you've heard about what's going on in over there?
Well, it's just such a weird like mess because it's confusing because like Zelensky is like this Zionistic Jewish heritage, but he's like aiding neo-Nazi like groups in Ukraine, and then like the UN like had a meeting or whatever trying to vote against like racism and white supremacy, and the US and Ukraine were the only countries to like vote no on it. Like, okay, and then the biolabs thing, like I don't know, like there's people that are like, oh, that's just totally fake. There's no bio, but you can look up biolabs that the US, has. Like they have tons of biolabs here in the US that even have like there was that Joe Rogan conspiracy like show that he did for a little while. I don't know if you've ever seen it. There was one episode where like they have like these empty, buildings or apartment buildings where people just go in and like experiment with like CRISPR and shit. you know?
Right, right.
So
Are you talking about Joe Rogan questions everything?
yeah. That was a freaking grip ago when I seen that. But yeah, that's what that one episode. Like, there's people in some kind of like trap house out in the middle of nowhere making like chimeras and stuff. Who knows? Like
Right, right. Yeah, that's it's crazy. Like 7 years ago, the New York Times and Time Magazine and all these other spots were saying that Ukraine had neo Nazis in there. Now what they're saying is they have far right movement in there. It's just a far right movement. It's not neo Nazis. But meanwhile, these motherfuckers are holding flags with the Ukraine. It's a Ukraine flag with the Nazi symbol right in the middle, swastika right there in the middle. It's like no,
and
they're
like in
just
the
far
US,
right.
but in the US weren't they the same just last year though? Like
Yep.
I guess it's like less like hypercharged language. I don't know. It's so
Hmm.
like we've reduced like civil discord to like baby talk and like, oh, you can't, this tiptoeing thing, and it's just silly.
No doubt. So Ocean Imago. The sound is sounding crazy. I'm sorry for everybody that's listening to us, because if I'm listening to what it's supposed to sound like, I'm letting you know right now, I know it sounds crazy. And I apologize, and I'm happy that you guys are actually here to listen to what it's sounding like. I don't know what happened to Ocean. I don't know if she's gone, coming back. I know she's muted. She's probably trying to fix some shit. But I'm happy you motherfuckers are here in the chat. If you're willing to give me a question, if you want to give me a question or some shit, look, Ocean is gone. If you want to give me a question, please give a question in the chat and we'll try to answer it. I'm sure she'll be back in a second. I am sure she'll be back in a second. This shit happens to me all the time. And realistically, I'm not the type of person that be just talking to the camera just to talk to the camera. I know there's people listening, but I don't like it. I don't like it. It feels weird. It feels very weird. Anyway, if y'all in the chat and y'all paying attention, if y'all ever had a psychedelic experience, this is going to be a question that I was going to ask Ocean. But if you ever had a psychedelic experience, what was it like? What did you take? Did you take anything? Did you not? Give me some details in the chat too. Have you ever researched terrain theory, and would you consider getting connected to some people well versed in that? Excuse me. No, I never. I don't even know what that is. To be honest with you, Proxy, I have no clue what terrain theory is, but I'm willing to figure it out and know what's going on with that. Excuse
Who
me.
knows?
What
Because on
happened? Not you just jump back inside, huh?
Yep. Just the quick smoke break. But I'm probably outside. Maybe it was like a solar flare or something. Who knows?
It's like mad noise. So what I asked the chat, but I'm sure they didn't answer. Is what I'm gonna ask you. Have you ever had a psychedelic experience? What, if so, what was it like, and what did you take?
I've experimented with hallucinogens a couple times. Like
Talk
my
to me.
most recent experience.
What happened?
Oh boy, I decided to trip LSD. It was actually like 2 months ago. Ended up like the worst night of my life, kind of. Like it was actually really cool, but it was also terrifying. I don't know. Like most like LSD nowadays is kind of really just research chemicals. You know, it's not going to be the like real shit. You know, and that's what kind of sucks because who knows? I've done LSD before, and this stuff. I mean, it was like little gel tabs, but I literally took like 1.5 of like these little weird gel tabs, and usually you don't taste anything either. But I could taste something, so I'm like, this is some weird shit. I thought I was like being abducted by aliens. I would have all the lights off in this apartment, and there was still like I was being blinded by all these lights and shit, having all the lights off. And then I look down, my fingers are all turning like green. I'm turning into like a monster and stuff. I don't know, it was crazy. But I actually got like I was with 2 people, and they like kind of just left me at the apartment to trip by myself, and like they were tripping about getting a ride home and wanted to like take it was just a really weird situation. So I'm like tripping, starting to have a bad trip because I just got abandoned by people and, you know, dealing with some loss in my family. Like it's probably not a good idea to like trip hallucinogens while you're grieving.
Right.
But
Did you
know,
not?
like,
Did you not learn anything new from it though?
no. I think like after every trip, I keep on learning stuff from like just experience of it and like reflecting on it. So yeah. I mean, I learned a lot because I think I experienced like the cosmic giggle in a way, and just like how like our reality, like science stops at the observation, you know? So it's like I can make my misery or this shit stop anytime I want to, but I just have to like let go and let it happen, you know? So, and I have a hard time doing that. Like, especially like with LSD, I've had bad trips because like you buy the ticket, you take the ride. You kind of like gotta like let it go. If you're gonna like cling on this roller coaster and want to get off, you're not gonna have a good time. So.
Right. You can't fight it. You just got to go for the ride. Yeah, like I feel like the psychedelic trips that are the bad trips, the people that say, "Oh, it's a bad trip," it usually is something informative. It's something that's going to teach you something in the future.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely teaches me to like step outside of myself a little bit more and not like attach, you know, because like that's kind of the letting go thing. I just was attaching to too much stuff that like it was trying to take me away from or seeing a different way. Because like some people like cling to their false beliefs because they feel safe, and I don't know, like I definitely like learned a lot from my bad trips and my good ones too. I think they're all very transformative experiences for me, for sure. I think I would like to do mushrooms again, maybe not LSD for a while. I think I'm good on that. Like,
Right, right. Like mushrooms is way more milder unless you go crazy on it. Um, so how do you feel about OnlyFans?
I don't know. I mean, who's worse, the women that like just like sleep with anybody for free and like tons of people a week, or like a chick that's kind of, you know, making money off of it? And a lot of those clients aren't like getting it, you know, they're just getting, you know, photography of it. You know, they're not getting like the whole full package. So
Right, right. My concern when it comes to OnlyFans is not the fact that the girls are making money.
right,
It's the ideology about it all. Like the guys that feel so desperate because there's like 30% of men that don't even get any nookie till they're like 30 plus years old.
right,
So that's the majority of the people that are spending their money on OnlyFans. So they're not really learning the lesson. They're kind of stuck in the trap. And then women are stuck in the trap. The ones that doing OnlyFans, they're stuck in the trap of like worrying about materialistic things.
right,
Because it's not like, oh, I'm just doing my OnlyFans. I'm gonna pay my bills and I'm good. It's like I'm doing OnlyFans now. I'm gonna do my hair up, $200 hairdo. I'm gonna get this jewelry. I'm gonna get the fucking Gucci purse or whatever the fuck it is.
right,
And it's just an ongoing cycle of the same shit, really, without like any real consequence until later.
right, right,
So like 5 years from now, they're gonna feel it. But right now, they're just in their glory days of like, I'm getting all the money, I'm chilling, I got this. Then 5 years from now, you're gonna feel it. You're gonna be like, fuck, I fucked up my life, my reputation. I might not be able to get a dude. Like if you want to settle down, it's gonna be hard.
right. Yeah. And I mean, like, it's just not sustainable, even for like the, because there's always going to be a younger girl that comes on there that does even wilder shit. You know what I mean? And maybe
Yep.
even for cheaper, you know? So it's like you're going to have to keep on upping like the X factor and like keep
Right.
on, you know, doing these things and appeasing to your subscribers. And like, I don't know, my soul ain't for sale. So like, I'm not really like about that. And plus, like with the materialism thing, like you're already doing these things because like there's some part of you that you feel like isn't whole. Like you're not whole, you know? You're not like,
Mm-hmm.
it's just this endless like yearning and feeling of a hole that you're never really going to fill because it's not coming from a genuine place, you know? It's just material shit. Like everything that's like, and everything beautiful will eventually rot, right? Like,
Right.
and you can't leave
Absolutely.
money. You can't take it to the grave, even though like Drake wants to be buried with all his money and shit. But I want to find out where that grave is. I'm gonna take all that money, dude. Go for it.
So, what's the latest rabbit hole that you've been down?
It's the Occupy the Getty shit, and like these like deep underground military bases, because apparently like there's these underground bunkers that the military like has made. I mean, Colorado for sure, like DIA, every time I go to DIA airport, like they got like 6 floors now, and they're just owning it. They got a gargoyle that's like, oh, the Illuminati, you know, he talks and does all this stuff, and like the mural's creepy, but like they definitely like buried a bunch of buildings when they made DIA, and like just a lot of weird, you know, creepy stuff about it. But like 250 cities all connect underground, apparently. You know,
You
supposedly,
think
and
so?
like that's where all these
Do you
elites are gonna
believe
go.
that? Do you believe it though?
You know how much like private land, like that random like the Queen of England owns land out in the U.S. Like we think it's like private government property and shit, but like there's so much of the U.S. that we don't get to see or touch. Like they even have experimental
Right.
forests and shit, you know? So it's like, what are they doing
Right.
back there? Are they like literally like cooking up Bigfoot for us to see? You know?
It could be.
Wild.
It could be. So what's this thing about cloning? Because you sent me some shit about cloning, and what I describe it as, or what I would call it, is the Venom theory.
Oh yeah.
So
I think
what's
it's
that
so
about?
crazy. Like all these movies, and they just like kind of depict in like a symbolic way, like kind of what's gonna happen to us, or we're making it happen through our like attention on these things. Like, did The
Right.
Simpsons really predict the future, or did, like, you know, they kind of put it in our face so that we could, like, do it for them, manifest it for them, because it's the collective energy, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
it's
I
like,
can see that. I can see that. Like the idea of like, did they just predict it, or did they put it in motion because someone said put this in motion so that way people can have it in their mind for later?
right, and that's like when I did the LSD, like the cosmic giggle thing, like I felt like I experienced myself as God in an ambulance, like, and just, I don't know, it was weird. Like, it's only something that, like, explaining it kind of does it a disservice, you know what I mean? Like, it was just an
Right.
experience that you had to be there and experience for yourself. And
Right.
like me trying to explain it to you, and like, what does that mean? Like, oh, I was a God in the ambulance and I woke up to myself, you know? Like, and woke up to how, like, it's just a joke because we're all doing this to ourselves, but we're like, maybe at one point, you know, the Godhead, we were like fractals, a million fractals of that, and then we're just trying to like unify our consciousness by like reality checks or something, who knows? But
Mhm. Right. No, absolutely.
I don't
Absolutely.
know, like, what does that mean?
Who the fuck knows? Yeah, who the fuck knows? Like, I don't fucking know, but I don't just I wouldn't cancel the idea automatically. You know what I mean?
Right, but then all of it gets you in a trap, because like, some people are like become super like infected with like this solipsism, you know, like this, like, oh, the world and the universe revolves around me and I'm like literally the creator of my reality, and then they become jaded and like full of hatred and toxicity because like life doesn't bend to their will and shit, you know?
Yep.
It's like, I thought you said you were God. Move the mountain. Can't you move the mountain? Like,
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. People get caught in little traps like that as well. Like even spiritualism and psychedelic, that realm of like a shamanic realm. A lot of it, because I know you were saying stuff about like, hey, you call yourself shamanic Poe. We want to make sure that you say something spiritual, but it's like my idea is balance. My idea is have your fun, but make sure you have the work too.
right, right,
You know, I don't like me personally. I've gotten to a point in my life where I don't wake up upset and I go to sleep when I want to go to sleep. I'm not up in the middle of the night like worried about shit. I sleep like a fucking baby because what I do and how I am in life, I put out good energy wherever I fucking go. If I'm going to the store, that person, oh, hey, how you doing, man? You good? Like everybody around me
right,
in my little bubble is getting positive energy as best as I can do it, you know?
right.
So I don't sleep fucked up. I don't wake up upset. I wake up happy. I wake up, I turn around, give my girl kisses and shit, or I jump out of bed and I'm ready to get up. Once I get up, I'm like, up,
Yeah,
I'm
you're
up,
ready to
new
live.
day.
You're ready to truly live. Like, I mean, nobody's living like getting like ruminating on their depression, you know? Like, yeah, I don't want to get out of bed. Like, I feel so awful. And like, you just stay there and stay there and stay there. But that's actually just going to make it so much worse for you, you know? And
Right.
inside your soul, like your true self knows this. And it's like, then it becomes like this double tension thing that's super bizarre, where it's like you have this inner tension and battle with yourself. But then there's also this like underlying like push that's like telling you like, yeah, that tension's there for a reason, like just dive into it, it's super scary, but you know, it's like a trust
Right.
fall.
Yep.
But
Yep. Yep.
yeah, so, but that's great
Absolutely.
though, like people should like, I mean, some days I wake up on the wrong side of the bed and I like do ruminate, and like, especially with just like some of the stuff that's happened recently with me, it's just hard sometimes, you know, to like maintain that like positivity, or you know, just a positive outlook in general when everything else is like, but that's what we do. Well, if we're like feeling gray, and you know, even if the environment's gray, like in Oregon, like there's barely any sun, like nobody gets vitamin D, that affects your mood and everything too. So
Hmm.
you know, we're going to color our life and our experience through that like feeling that we're having, you know, and that
Right.
experience. So why get stuck in that? And that's like the whole cosmic giggle thing. Like, God, if there is a God, like, has to have the most crazy sense of humor. And I would like
Right,
to have a beer
absolutely.
with, because, like, look at all this crazy shit. And, like, you gotta at least laugh at it, especially because, like, I'm not in control of it. I can't, like, do nothing about it really per se. I mean, we can try. And that's what I would like to do. Like, chatting with people, finding like-minded individuals, and then seeing, like, people's skills and seeing if, like, we can, like, put everybody together and make our own, like, 2022 epic archetypal business industry, like, where everybody kind of works together instead of, like, a good old boys club. But that's so hard, though, because clicks and shit. But
Yeah, it is hard. It's hard nowadays. All right, so I got like one more question for you, but it's gonna go back to the Ukraine Russia thing. So have you heard about the US and the UK military people that went out to Ukraine to help out Ukraine voluntarily? But when they were there, they realized Ukraine was sending them out first to die. So what they were trying to do, and it's a one dude, it's a military dude that was talking about this shit on, I don't know if it's TikTok or Instagram, but he was saying like, hey, we're trying to leave because we see this is bullshit. So when we go back to like the borders and leave, they were like telling us, no, we can't fucking leave. If we had all our military shit on us and we look like military men, they would turn us back around and tell us, no, you can't fucking leave.
that's totally news to me. Like, see, I kind of
Yeah.
like pick up on what's going on in the world through these like sound bites and what everybody else is doing, with their like little like new profile picture that's just a black square or something, the different things or slogans or just sound bites. Because I really don't watch TV or the news really, but I mean, I'll hear the sound bite. Okay, some shit's popping off in Ukraine, and then I just kind of like, who are the key figures in this like situation that the media is putting out, and then I just look them up, and then boom, 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 then that's
Right.
pretty good fast little deduction of figuring out some things about it. But I definitely don't keep
Absolutely.
up with the Joneses.
No, yeah, I have two news channels on YouTube that I fuck with heavy.
Oh yeah,
Breaking Points, they're more central, they're more centered, they're more in the middle. There's a Republican dude and a Democratic female. They basically go back and forth and shit, and they get to a good point. And then there's Jimmy Dore, who's a comedian, but at the end of the day, like he just works on left issues. But the way he tackles them is basically annihilating everything the Democrats and the liberal media has been saying because he knows that a lot of it is bullshit. So I every now and then I send a link of Breaking Points and Jimmy Dore. Like I know Richard Grannon knows about Jimmy Dore because I sent him a bunch of shit. Check out that. What do you think about that? What do you think about that? Like, because you can't really trust the news per se, like the actual news, because again, paid and bought by military, by big pharma, by anybody that was willing to put the money up. Like they're getting paid by Kim Kardashian and that crew to, even make Kanye look bad, even worse
yeah,
than what he's making himself look bad. Like he's already doing the job. You over here doubling down on him to make sure he looks like shit.
yeah.
So all that shit I pay attention to heavy, and I try to like take this news article, and every now and then I'll go into the mainstream and see what they say to make sure that what I'm listening to ain't bullshit either. But
Right. Yeah. It's always good to do that comparison thing because I love this book, Prometheus Rising. I always like just recommend it for people. But yeah, like it's one of the exercises in it is just like you 1 week you'll like immerse yourself in Nazi literature and then like try to like act it out, and then the next week do the total opposite, like Marxist, what things that seem like total opposites, like you try to just embody these ideas. And like
right,
it's crazy. It's just like really, because life is about perspective, like how many lenses can you see reality through? And the more you
absolutely,
can see like different perspectives and like, solutions or options to left on the table, the more likely you are to like live a more abundant, imaginative, creative, fun life. you know.
Right. Right.
So
Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Ocean. So what's next? What's next? What's on the to-do list for your foreseeable future?
um well, I'm just going back to Oregon to deal like helping my family to move and everything. So I'll definitely be doing that. But in the meantime, I really want to be actually putting out videos instead of like piggybacking myself on my other friends, channels, which is great though. I really appreciate it. I love having, they invite me on, and I love doing this kind of thing. I want to get better at it too. You have to like practice makes perfect, right? But
Right.
I also just have shit to say, and like nobody's saying nothing, so like I'll just make myself like a joke of myself, whatever people will think, whatever they want to think about it. But I don't
You
want to go
should do
down
it.
history and say that I didn't. So
Right.
it'll
You
just
should
kind of
do it.
like, the more comfortable I get, the more like people will see of me. And definitely gaining more confidence in it. But yeah, I definitely want to make music. I'm trying to go to Europe because my spouse, I have long distance relationships. So that's definitely something that I'm looking forward to, is getting out of the
Mhm.
United States and traveling and seeing other, countries and experiencing different cultures and demographics. Because yeah, I've been to a lot of states in the US, and yeah, each state kind of has its own kind of flavor of America, I guess. But like most of the people are starting to just be the same across the board, like with their values, it's like, it's so funny. There's like, with all the diversity, there's no like real like uniqueness or individuality in that anymore either, though. It's so strange.
Very hard to find uniqueness and originality nowadays because everybody's trying to follow somebody else's code or somebody else's game plan, their marketing plan to make themselves successful in money wise,
Right.
not really happiness and just enjoyment of life, but just to have the stuff. And that's the problem with a lot of people. They just want to make sure that they have the stuff. Because that way, when you say, "Oh, this person is living like shit," you're like, "No, I got all this stuff. Look at all the stuff I have. Check out the stuff."
Right.
And you can't hide behind the stuff. Like you
Mm-mm.
can do it to an extent to people that are morons that don't know any better, but the majority of people can see through the stuff. You know,
Yeah, and
you
like,
got
I don't get it. I'm not a very materialistic person. Like, I like that
right,
I live out of a suitcase, and if I need to get up and go, I can get up and go. Like
right. I
nothing
used to
is like
love
holding
those
me back
days.
and keeping me in one place. And like, why is my value is it attributed to material things? My value
Right.
is far beyond what is material, and that's what is like we should
Absolutely.
be thinking about ourselves. You know,
Absolutely.
whether you believe in God or
Absolutely.
not, if we were made in likeness of God, then we should be, loving of ourselves, and, standing up for our values and, boundaries and all that other shit, and like having a voice and being unique,
Right.
so it's
Absolutely.
like,
Like
people are
that's
trying so hard to be unique that they're not anymore at the same time.
no,
This is weird.
they're not. They're not even trying, girl. They're
No.
not even trying. They're not even trying. They're doing their best to fit in, and that's like I want to say probably 80% of the people. They just want to fit in, whether it's this crowd or that crowd.
Right.
80% of them are looking to fit in somewhere, and I think I've always lived this way since I was a little kid. Why fit in, especially if it doesn't make sense? Why throw yourself into something that don't fit in and just be parroting off something that somebody else said because
Right.
hey, if I say these words, people will accept me here. That's fucking stupid to me, you
Yeah,
know?
and I mean, it's just coming from a place of like insecurity, and like that's keeping yourself small, and nobody else is going to respect you in your life, and like it's I don't know, it's like, and plus like the social interactions these people have, when they are by themselves, are like, I don't really know if I like that person though, but I'm, doing everything they want or whatever, because I have friends, but they're not even your freaking friends. They don't care about
Right.
you. Like when you're in need, are they
Absolutely.
there to be like talk to you or anything, or give you a hug, or like, I've had people, that I love and have done so many things for in my life, just because that's the person I am. But in my times of need, like, I can't call them. I can't,
Right.
they're not going to do anything for me. I give them $5. They're never going to give me $5, and I probably would never ask anyways. But
Right. Absolutely. That's how it goes. That's how it goes. That's why I try to do my best, like to not help too tough, like not to go too crazy on the help. If somebody really needs help, um, and they come at me correctly, then yeah, I
Right.
could probably put them in a direction or another. But it's not my job to be out here trying to help, like overtly out there
Right.
trying to help people, because a lot of people don't take it as help. A lot of people take it as, yes, I got a little win, or I finessed or some shit. And that's just not good. It's just not good. Hey, Ocean, let everybody know where they could find you, how they could reach you, where you at, shit like that.
What was that? What's the chat saying?
I said, I said, chat's not saying nothing. I
Oh, I
said,
thought you said the chat. Sorry.
let let everybody know in the chat and the people that are going to watch this later where they could find you, how they could reach you, and all the shit that you're doing.
Well, Instagram. I have a Facebook. Instagram is just at Ocean Imago, and then I have a Telegram. I'm trying to make a like my own little Telegram channel that I'm going to invite people to kind of like test out my different video ideas and just get feedback potentially and stuff. It's called Primordial Soup, so I just like the idea of all this. It's just primordial soup that you can obtain this information and use it to transform yourself, or you can just like be like everybody else.
Right.
So
Absolutely. Absolutely. I like that. Yeah, you should definitely get your channel going. You should definitely be uploading at least once a week. And you should definitely get me on it once you start getting the shit going.
oh yeah. It's just like what my problem is. I have so many ideas, but like I don't really have a format, and like do I
Just
what
start.
like does it matter? Yeah, exactly. That's kind of where I'm
Just
at.
start.
Yeah.
Just start, girl.
Like,
Just
who really cares
start.
about the details? Like, I think I'm getting too caught up in the details that it's preventing me from like moving forward with the thing. So
No
I gotta
doubt. No
manifest the
doubt.
shit outside my head, instead of it being in there all the time. And plus, I'm sick of
Absolutely.
talking about it. Like, I don't want to talk about it anymore. Like, if I still don't have, like, I'm getting subscribers, but I have no videos, like, that's kind of lame.
No, man. You're supposed to just do it, man. You're supposed to just
Yeah.
do it. You do it. You do it
Getting
because you
caught up,
love to
though.
do it. You do it because you want to fucking talk. That's it. All right. So thanks everybody in the chat. Thanks everybody that's gonna comment later. Make sure if you can donate a little bit. It's in the description. Check out the merchandise. I'm about to have some new Godhead merchandise coming soon. New Godhead project with my homie Psychopath is coming in a month. Just say a month. Let's just say a month. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for your time and attention. This is Street Shaman Podcast. I'm Shamanic Poe, aka Porno Rockstar with Ocean Imago, and we out of here. Motherfucker.